Legitimate patent holders who really felt the companies were copying their products were very frustrated with Amazon. They felt that there was really no way to stop the sale of all these products, that were in their minds infringing on their patents. And of course we know, especially in technology, that anything that you sell or ship is probably covered by hundreds of patents, at least dozens, if not hundreds. So patent law is a messy thing if you're kind of on the technology side of things. But now, interestingly, in the last year or two, things have flipped opposite. So now, when somebody reports a intellectual property infringement to Amazon, rather than the old model of doing nothing, they suddenly flipped 180 degrees to where they immediately assume, well, okay, that could be a legitimate IP complaint. We're going to suspend that product or suspend that seller, and we're going to ask the two parties involved to work it out amongst themselves. And when they both say it's okay, we'll allow sales of that product to resume. So very challenging from the potential disruptions to your business. So I think what it means in short is that not only are trademarks and patents techniques for protecting yourself that you should be looking at for any business, but they're actually becoming a lot more important on Amazon today than they were just a few years ago. So like in case of my company, we have a logo mark trademark that actually we've had since 2011, and we actually have several patents in the U.S. There's design patents, which are just on cosmetics, and there's utility patents, which are actually on the function of things, and we have some of both. So, great kind of strong things to layer in. So now kind of moving up to the top, actually, which are kind of more ephemeral or shorter term things, we have reviews. And we all know how important reviews are as social proof, but actually, interestingly, there's something Amazon has given us, which is, for ASINs that we control that are under our brand, they're really an asset. I don't know, if anybody who's involved with, Amazon company acquisitions, but basically the number of ASINs that you have with positive, overall positive ratings and how many reviews are behind those ratings, if I was valuing an Amazon business, that would be definitely a key factor for me in thinking about that valuation. And that's the case because it gives us the ability, staying power with that product once we're able to have sold enough or encouraged enough reviews to stand out among the competition. And of course, we have our product listings and content. I think in the past, this is another area where Amazon gave us really weak tools to build our brand in the area of product listing and content a few years ago. You had images and you had some very short textual descriptions of each product. But now with enhanced brand content, now with video content, under the Amazon Business Program, you have the ability to associate PDFs and other documents with your ASIN. We can really have a big set of content around our products. Now, I definitely over the years found a lot of stealing between sellers of content, so that's part of why this is up the list a bit in terms of being a little ephemeral. You have to just know that if you've got great content, other sellers are going to be looking at that, and even if they don't copy it word for word, there's limits to how much that protects you. Then we have brand loyalty. I think Amazon has taken away a lot in terms of brand loyalty. Just to be realistic, our assumption is that even though a lot of people know our brand of electronics, in the end, even if they love us, they're going to go back to Amazon and start with a fresh search every time. And so that's quite a bit different, I think, than brands used to think of things. But, when they get back those search results, if we're able to be there in those first few results, they'll jump down, their eyes will jump down a few and go, oh, I recognize that company. I like them. I've had a good experience with them. And so that brand loyalty, while weakened by Amazon overall, still has a lot of power. And then we have what is ultimately the most important one, but also the most ephemeral. There's the most things that can kind of mess with that, and that's your search position. Of course, search position really determines sales, and sales determines search position. It is a tight feedback loop, and we'll talk about that. But of course, all it takes is to just simply go out of stock for a little while, and all of that asset of that great search position can be lost in just a week or two of being out of stock. So for those of us doing private label products with kind of long lead times from the factory, where we're having to order out 3 or 4 months, especially like this time of year where we're accounting for holiday sale and also accounting for the supply disruption of Chinese New Year. I mean, this is tough. We're steering an ocean liner, and yet we've got to not hit the rocks 4 months from now and destroy all of our carefully built search position for the keywords, because it is a hugely valuable, if very fragile, asset. So how do we specifically build these things, and what kind of things can happen on Amazon that can threaten these assets? So let me elaborate a little bit more on the search position, since that one is so important. It's interesting. At Amazon, they use the term the flywheel, and it really is their model for a lot of aspects of their own business, and it's certainly my mental model for search position and momentum on an ASIN. Of course, a flywheel is just a big, heavy thing that is very hard. You got to push energy into it to get it spinning. But once it's spinning, it stores that energy, and it just keeps going. And you can try to stop it. You've got to use a lot. You've got to basically bleed out all of that energy in order to stop that flywheel from spinning. So this peculiar, I don't know if it's peculiar, but this interesting aspect of Amazon search, where your sales volume is the number one thing that feeds into your search position, is what kind of makes it this flywheel. So, the toughest part about that is the cold start problem. The day you launch your product, it could be the best product in the world at the best price, and of course it's going to sit at the bottom of, dozens or hundreds of pages of search results. So, all of the good strategies that have been talked about yesterday and the day before, to know what sales velocity you need to get that product up to, and have the marketing strategies in place to get it there, that's essential, or else you'll always be kind of buried below the search results. Customers, it's interesting. You'd think customers would research heavily on Amazon, that they would dig down deeper in listings to find lower prices and better products. But it's for a high percentage of Amazon shoppers, that's just not the case. They trust Amazon search results. They're looking at really those first few results, and they're not going to dig deeper to bring up those potentially better or lower priced products that are down lower. It's our responsibility as sellers to get them up in front of people. So as I mentioned, a lot of risks to selling on Amazon today. There's Amazon private label brands, aggressive competition. We're going to talk a bit about account suspensions, and then of course and then product suspensions, which now have become a lot more frequent. And so really, I think anybody who is a larger seller, you're probably experiencing product suspensions, at least every quarter, if not every month. So Amazon's private label brands, is everybody familiar with these? Okay, so there was some mention of it at some of the earlier talks. So you cannot necessarily recognize which brands are Amazon brands, and they're registering an extraordinary number of trademarks. This is just a very small sampling. Would you have thought that Larkin Rowe was Amazon private label? Well, it is. And while they may not be exactly, kind of copying your product as a private label seller, all of the data on Amazon is used by Amazon themselves to determine what products they're going to get into, and kind of what feature set they're going to hit. Around 2012, we had the best-selling USB hub on Amazon. It's a kind of niche, but also very big category. And one day I open up search. I was kind of looking around, and I see, oh man, Amazon Basics just launched a whole big hub product line. By the way, putting them in variations in a way that's not allowed by their terms of service, and they're sourcing from my supplier. And so obviously I knew this was a huge event. I called up my supplier. I said, I I know why you guys are doing this. I don't begrudge it, but what the heck, right? And also talking about pricing and things like that. But yeah, over basically the next 6 months, our sales dropped to about a third of what they were previously because Amazon Basics came into our category. So one of the things that you must do, especially if you're in a relatively high velocity category, is be looking out for the Amazon Basics brands. And chances are you're not going to be able to go exactly head-to-head with an Amazon brand, especially not Amazon Basics, where there's such a name recognition there. Some of these other ones, I think, Amazon's had a more of a checkered record with some of these differently named brands. But, so basically, in our case, we knew that we needed to get differentiated. We needed to, get in price and features just away from those Amazon Basics products, because going purely up head-to-head was a losing game. In terms of competition from other sellers, I mean, the numbers are just shocking. Over a million products, or over a million sellers have products listed for sale. Now, within that, I mean, into the really active set of sellers, you're probably only into the tens of thousands or low hundreds of thousands, the sellers that are really active. But 850,000 sellers added this year, over 3,000 per day. I mean, it's amazing numbers. A lot of these accounts will turn out to be, inactive and won't affect us, but a lot will. Okay, so the suspensions. I'm kind of stealing CJ's talk here with, CJ wasn't allowed to talk about suspensions, so I have a slide on it. So, these are the major types of suspensions, and if everybody knows kind of what account suspensions are, but then there's a lot of different types of product suspensions. There's ASIN suspensions where, you've seen the Amazon dogs, right? So on one of your products, when you go to your ASIN and it comes up with one of those really cute Amazon dogs, you're in for a really bad day. What's happened is Amazon's pulled that whole ASIN down. It's usually a product quality, product safety issue. Sometimes it's an intellectual property issue. So what we usually find is the ASIN goes down, you get a 404 ASIN, and then maybe 12 or 24 hours later, you're going to get a ticket, an email from Seller Performance, telling you a very short statement of something's gone wrong. Tell us what's wrong and tell us what you're going to do about it. The classic Amazon email, suspension email with very little information, asking you for a plan of action. And then there's also listing suspensions where it's just you as a seller, just your listing is suspended, but other people can continue to sell that ASIN. And then there's FBA suspensions, which is they just don't let you use FBA. These are becoming very common now. If you've got products where your return rate pops above approximately 5%, it's category specific, you will start receiving kind of automated suspensions where they stop sales of your product but give you a form to fill in to restart sales to kind of say what's wrong. The only problem is that if you get, they'll tend to only do those once a month, and when you have several months in a row of those, they will suspend the product entirely from FBA. So some of our products have complex compatibility, and we have every motivation in the world to have those customers have good experiences and not return the product. But some of our products consistently stay above that 5% level, and a few of them we just had to say we can't use FBA. We've got to do FBM on those products. And then there's buy box suppression, which is a really interesting one. It's actually, just kind of jumping ahead. So has anybody ever had the situation where there's no buy box in the product, but then if you go down and look at the other sellers offering this product, there's a bunch of sellers there, including your offer on the product. Has anybody ever seen that with one of their listings? So there's like 2 or 3 people have seen it. So what this is buy box suppression. It's usually based on what Amazon perceives as a pricing issue, and the number one source of problem is Amazon is actually going out and scraping all kinds of other e-commerce sites, including, and especially one we've noticed the most, Walmart. And if they find a lower price on Walmart, what they'll do is they'll say, well, We'd rather not have that product be easy to buy on Amazon if there's a lower price somewhere else. I mean, in reality, what they're doing, because they know that they're the dominant channel, they're arm twisting you to say, do something about that lower price over there. Either lower the price on Amazon or raise the price over there, whatever, but we don't want lower prices on any other marketplace. So the trouble is they're not going to send you an email about it. The buy box will just disappear. If you look at the APIs or anything like that, it'll still show like maybe you as the buy box owner if you're private label, but you'll see the sales of the product drop down dramatically because very few buyers will go through the extra hop of looking at the other offers list and choosing one of those offers. So with these suspensions, I mean, what's Amazon doing? I mean, Amazon's a really good company. Clearly, overall, what they're doing is very successful. When I talk to Amazon people, they're good people who are, kind of riding a rocket ship. They've got too much work to do, but they really have their hearts in the right place. So, it's important to understand all this suspension stuff that's become such a big issue for sellers. It's Amazon applying this Andon cord philosophy. This originated on manufacturing lines where, as product was coming down the line, it used to be that we would just have statistical product control. That basically products would come down the line, they'd be checking for defects. At the end of the day, they might say, hey, our defect rate is up 1% today. What happened? And they would manage quality that way. And an innovation was this kind of Andon cord philosophy, which is that you empower anybody on the production line to pull the Andon cord and stop the line if they detect anything wrong. So if I'm the person, the woman, assembling this one sprocket, and I've done 1,000 of these, and I know exactly how it's supposed to go, and then I get 3 in a row where I can't assemble it properly because it's misaligned, giving that person the power to stop the line is a very effective quality management strategy. They're the expert, they know what to do, and then the problem is solved. The tricky thing is that Amazon's actually applying that to us and to our situations. And what's actually pulling the Andon cord is not necessarily an expert in our business, not an expert in our product, but it's actually a bot seeing a keyword like damaged or hurt in a review. Or it's an agent who's paid $10 an hour in another country, and they're doing this for all businesses of all types and all sizes, and they're not experts in the products or the business. So it's kind of I think a lot of frustration has built up among the seller community because of the suspensions, because they come off as feeling really random, and so I think it's just good for us to understand that it's coming with from a good intent of trying to ensure quality. It's coming from a clear philosophy. I do believe it's being kind of misapplied, and I'm actually hopeful that Amazon will adjust the way they've been doing this to do it in a better way in coming months and years. Really, the suspensions are really only kind of a year or two old in terms of something that is an issue that every seller is, at least big sellers, struggling with. Okay, so another kind of threat. We talked about the asset of your listing and your listing quality. So the Amazon makes the whole Amazon system assumes that there's going to be multiple people selling any item. That's what the system was designed for. So originally, from 2009 to 2011 or 12, when the brand registry program was introduced, all sellers had the same what's called a contribution score. When I would submit a title for one of my products, and then some other random seller would submit a title for one of my products, our contributions had equal weight. They have a scale of 1 to 100. The score was 30. So then, that caused all kinds of disruption in the marketplace, and all of us who were around at that time were submitting Seller Central tickets, seller support tickets all the time to fix our listings because of changes by other sellers. And this was the primary problem that the brand registry was introduced for. Once they knew that, okay, these products are associated with this company, which is the actual brand holder, they raise the contribution score of that brand holder, so that when we now submit a title or something like that as part of the brand registry program, nothing that any other kind of regular seller does can affect the listing. However, there's still a lot of internal Amazon things that can. The biggest ones being any contribution from Amazon retail is the number one thing, because that can also include vendor express contributions, and then also certain internal Amazon processes. So, one of the things that we've found challenging over the years is we invest all this time and energy to build this asset, which is our listing quality, and then it gets destroyed. We do enhanced brand content, and if Amazon Retail does a contribution to that ASIN, it'll go right back to that old text description, and our enhanced brand content isn't shown, for example. And so really all we can do with this, and because all of this occurs silently, there's no notification, or there often has not been a notification about this. Amazon's actually been getting better about it lately. We need to be kind of on top of all that, monitoring the detail page and catching when there's these sorts of changes, so that we can submit tickets basically and try to get them fixed. And then there's lots of other risks. Some of these are kind of brand related and some of them aren't. We have, I won't try to explain all of them, but, like, for example, this whole Andon court philosophy that, kind of suspend the thing first and then, ask questions. Unfortunately, that makes Amazon very vulnerable to kind of warfare between sellers, where sellers try to get other sellers suspended. Then, of course, we talked about tax risks a couple times in some of the other presentations. Just this week, there was a new, and Max was talking about this in the panel earlier, how many sellers in Europe have not been properly, filing VAT, and that has meant they've had a huge advantage in the marketplace, but the governments haven't been getting their tax. Just this week, there was a large number of large sellers in Europe who received multiple years of VAT tax bills, which, if it's 20%, that's probably bigger than your net profit margin, and probably enough to put your business under if that's your only marketplace you're in. So, pretty nasty problems, and I think a lot of what's happening with VAT is a precursor to what might happen with sales tax, even though there's also a lot of differences. So I don't know what to say about these. I mean, these are some of the things that keep me up at night, and there's a lot of detail behind these. But I think it is just to be aware that all this stuff is possible, be on the lookout for it, but not necessarily to get too consumed by it. I mean, hopefully this is noise for your Amazon selling business, these issues. I think in general, it's been, for me, a worry all along, but always noise. Like, you hear it happening to other sellers, and occasionally it touches what you do, but not enough to, kind of, knock you off your plan. And the reason why all of this is so important is it's Amazon or bust for most of us. We talked about for the large sellers, what the percentage of our sales were, as it relates to Amazon and everything else. I said 93%, and that's not for not trying. I mean, we sell on Walmart, we sell on eBay, we tried Jet right when they launched. We sell on Newegg, which is a kind of a specific marketplace for our sort of product. We distribute through standard distribution. I mean, in certain categories, Amazon has really eaten that category, in certain categories and markets. And there just is not any other marketplace to be had. So, like CJ said, in the context of arbitration, when you're trying to say, well, or if somebody says to you, well, just sell the product somewhere else, in many cases, the lot sizes we're buying to serve the Amazon market are simply unmovable in any combination of the other marketplaces. Okay, so that's the bad stuff. So despite the challenges, Amazon's the most important platform to sell on. And, on the good side, here we all are. I mean, this is a huge opportunity. What Amazon has done is awesome, which is to allow small companies to start from nothing and be able to reach a global audience for our products. So if you've got products that you're really creative about or passionate about, I mean, I love KJ's talk before this one in terms of really, being excited about what you're sourcing and excited about what you're bringing to customers. it was very difficult before to build that kind of business, and Amazon has enabled that sort of business to be something it's all attainable for all of us. So there's a ton of good here, kind of overarching all of this risk. So what can we do, in terms of strengthening those brand assets that I talked about in the first slide to protect us from all of these risks? Okay, so number one, and this is one of the things I think that hasn't been talked enough about with all of the other kind of marketing talks, is just the basics. I mean, a lot of these programs, some of the video stuff that's coming in, there's more coming. I mean, what you see right now in Seller Central, there's more coming with video coming up. Enhanced brand content, early reviewer program, QA. All of that stuff is pretty new. I mean, QA's been there for 2 or 3 years. Every single question that comes in for one of our products, we route it to our ticket system and treat it as a customer support issue, and we answer that question. So that, and that builds an enormous amount of trust among customers who are the sort that actually dig through Q&A, which isn't all customers, but for the ones that actually dig through Q&A, they go, hey, this is a company that actually answers the questions. And, if I have any questions that are not already answered by the listing, I know I can get them answered. And all the rest. This is a lot of work. Out of my team, we have more than half our people that just work on this stuff, just content. So big investment, not a massive payoff. I mean, you're not going to triple your sales by posting a video up, but you will increase your sales by 10 or 20%. And that advantage will, it will kind of ratchet you up in search results, and it's a sustainable advantage because if it's a good video, if you've got a good strategy, if you're willing to come in front of the camera as the owner of the company and say why you really love this product and why, you might love it too, that will resonate with people. It's a great way to build brand. And then one of the ones I'm most excited about is for people who've been selling through Vendor Central, there's been a program called Vine that's been available for a very long time. And basically it allows you to send in a bunch of products, about 30, and then Amazon distributes those out kind of from your perspective at random. Actually, what happens is Vine reviewers look at what products are available and select, and then they write reviews. So many of the bad things and kind of gray hat and black hat things that have been happening on the platform have to do with review manipulation. And part of the reason why this has been such a difficult challenge is it's so important to get those first few reviews. So the more Amazon squeezes to try to get bad things from happening, the more things slip through the fingers and more new techniques come up. So I'm actually really excited about the potential that Vine is going to come to Marketplace. It's going to be a bit expensive, probably priced the same way it is on Vendor Central, which is $1,000 in ASIN, but between the sticks of kind of enforcement against not doing bad strategies with reviews, and then the carrot of kind of solving the cold start problem and having a legitimate way to get started with a new product, I'm actually really excited about that this is going to clean up, to some degree, the review area. So be on the lookout for that in coming months. Drive traffic. A lot of these things were talked about, and actually, tell you what, I mean, we've been terrible about many of these things. I mean, I have loved going to these conferences and hearing what other people are doing because these. As much as I'm an advocate for doing kind of the old school brand building, this stuff is all important. Use a ticketing system for customer support. So one of the old school things that we do is we really treat every customer interaction as critical. We never want to drop a customer interaction. We always want to give them a professional response. We want them to feel good about us. I don't know how you do that without a ticketing system. If you're doing it, based on, at least once you scale to 2 people or more. So we happen to use Zendesk. There's a ton of them out there, Help Scout, Jira. Zendesk is a little expensive. It's, $25 per employee per month. But we live in Zendesk. I mean, because we're really, in a sense, a customer. We're a company that produces, products, but we're a customer service company. Avoid negative surprises. So, you heard me talking about some of the types of suspensions and buy box issues, many of which are silent, many of which Amazon won't tell you about. So, either have your VAs be checking your listings on a regular basis, or have tools that are checking them for you. Because a lot of these sorts of things that are stopping your flywheel, that are stopping your sales from happening, you want to be on them right away. And then email automation. So this has been a really interesting area. We had actually been sending emails since we started pretty much in 2009. The first few months, I did them just kind of by hand, and then I developed some automation for it. Of course, Amazon has changed a lot by having the general marketing opt-out for Amazon apply to all seller emails. And that started out the list with this huge opt-out. So what we're seeing right now is opt-out rates around 40%, so only about 60% of emails are going to be delivered. Our tools, we have the ability to have you forward your bounce emails to us, and so that's how we're able to track opt-out and not send any additional emails. Even still, the open rate's around 25%, which we only just recently started monitoring open rates, so we actually don't know what they were prior to the opt-out. But I have a feeling that a lot of the people that opted out were the same people who weren't opening the emails anyway. So, we're still getting a decent open rate. 25% is not that bad. And so, and it's not just, these emails are not just for reviews, but they're also for customer service and brand building. I mean, you're creating a connection with your customer through these emails. So, if you're only focused on saying, please write a review, that's of course going to be counterproductive. You want to actually do the other things and have the higher rate of reviews be something that happens as almost an ancillary effect. And then turn around bad reviews. So in an environment where it's difficult to encourage positive reviews, and where frankly, I mean, the people who are motivated to submit a review are people who are frustrated and angry, right? So turning around negative reviews are really important. So, have some sort of system to get notified when reviews come in for your ASINs, and then be able to kind of match those back up to orders. And there's ways of doing that, which you could just Google and find the methods, so that you can then contact those people. In our case, we send an email that says, hey, here's a 2-star review, here's the order with it. And if you've already sent an email to that customer, like you have a post-order email that comes out shortly after the order, we'll already know whether they're opted out or not, and we'll tell you. We'll say, this user is opted out of emails, so don't bother contacting them through Marketplace email. That won't reach them. So you kind of have all the information you need in one place. And then number 7 and last is kind of the simplest and the hardest thing, staying in stock. This is a good example. The orange line here is sales. The bluish-green line is stock. This is an ugly yet dream scenario. A rocket ship that just can't take off because we just can't stay in stock. You see sales taking off like through here. We're just absolutely bouncing along the bottom on stock. Finally, we get some stock in. Sales rocket up. I think when you're placing purchase orders and you're steering that ocean liner of your orders for 3 or 4 months out, I don't know how you do that without historical context. So we always look at our sales and inventory data over time. We also look at events that have occurred, like lightning deals, so we can correct for that. So here, what I'm looking at is, okay, well, I know I've got out of stock. I want to place a purchase order that's actually quite a bit higher than my just kind of linear extrapolation would be at this moment. And, I'm able to make that judgment because, I'm looking at this kind of longer historical data. And then lastly, don't lose the plot. I mean, we are here to make money. A lot of us, are career changers. We, have a kind of a limited runway to make this work or not work. But we all want to do something that's great. So build products you're proud of, do right by your customers while making a living, and building a legacy that will last. And having a strong brand is really the very best way to do that last thing. So thank you very much. So we have some books to give away during the Q&A period if you've got questions. So Also wanted to mention that so a lot of the things that I talked about, our tools cover those areas. It's the efficient era tools. We match reviews and orders, email automation, listing alerts. It's basically all the things that I had to do to make my Amazon selling business successful, and we offer those to other sellers. So.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bernie.
Thank you, Bernie. Awesome talk. I have two questions. So question number one is, do you know when Amazon suppresses the buy box in the EU? Because there's no Walmart in the EU, and I don't know if they monitor eBay.
Yeah, we haven't had a buy box suppression in the EU yet. It's always been in the US for us. We only sell on Amazon in the EU, so that's probably why we haven't run into it. So I don't know. Every time we've gotten a suppression, it's been Walmart because we sell in Walmart, and especially last fall, Walmart was doing loss leader pricing to try to drive holiday sales, and that actually caused a lot of Amazon buy boxes to be lost. So yeah, so I just don't know about Europe, unfortunately.
Yeah, because I sometimes get it, and sometimes it's super clear just because the prices went up too fast, right? But sometimes it's completely unclear. And the other question is, you do inventory health monitoring with efficient era. Do you think that it can also help for people who buy wholesale and who share the listing with other people? Because the situation is a bit different because the sales are shared between all the sellers, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think we can help with that as we're written right now. I mean, we're specific to a seller account.
Where do you get the sales numbers from? From how many sales your own account made?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting the sales numbers from the MWS reports and from the real-time orders API.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Any more questions?
Thanks a lot, Bernie, for sharing. I learned a lot.
No, thank you.
I like how you broke down, you had 8 factors of, ways to protect your brand. And I'm trying to understand if you could 80-20 that, which one would, or which few would generate the most exponential results for us to focus on. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know about exponential results. I think a trademark now has become, because of the brand registry tie-in, that's become a baseline. So get a trademark, and you have to get it in each Amazon geography you're going to be in. So get a U.S. trademark, and then there's an international trademark organization which you can get a bunch of countries covered at once. It doesn't cover China. But then second, I think is actually the content. Because it's such a sustainable advantage and such a sustainable brand strength, I think the content actually comes next after that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Bernie.
Okay, thank you.